wrong, my friend. I don't even recognize myself. I need to get a beard trim bad.
So we're back. I'm furious, and everything has changed. Uh, we'll just get to the end. I got told by a professional speaking coach on Friday, who knows what he's doing and knows what he's talking about, that I should fucking quit, give it up, and not even try anymore. And the worst part is the guy's reason makes all the sense in the world. The original plan is we were going to meet up. We've been wanting to get some time again and actually talk about our relationship between doing creation for ourselves, for entertainment, for fun, for meaning, do it as art, versus when are you doing this for a career and trying to have an impact on people and make money out of it. And just days before we actually had time to meet up and talk about this, the world has put me in the crucible where I am on the needle's edge now. I have to re-examine all of this stuff in my life and make some big decisions about it pretty quick.
All right,
So
so I have yet to hear the reasons why this man thinks you should not become a coach.
yeah, they're pretty solid. For a while, I've known something's off, and it's progress to actually understand why things are wrong, because maybe you can dodge it the next time, but it doesn't help you avoid the bullet that just hit you in the head. But every single person I know who's succeeding is building their creative business, their art business, their online business on the back of an existing career they've already had for decades. The guy that we've been talking about lately, his channel just blew up, and I'm excited to use the new techniques he's putting together. The techniques help, but the real thing is the fact that he's talking about how to get promoted into being an executive at a corporation. The man has hired and fired executives for the past 15 years. Not only is that credibility, but it's even more important is this thing called market intimacy. Another phrase I really like is being embedded in the market. There's 7 different ways that I could sell getting new jeans or sell communication skills. And they could all be true, but only one way is actually going to sound like it matters to you. The other 5 you'd ignore or feel like, I understand what you're saying, but I just don't care. But there's one way that's speaking your language, your terms. Even more important is the first steps. We've talked about this many times. Like, how do you get started? It feels like all the advice is how to multiply, how to magnify an already existing audience or product or whatever. Like, how the fuck do you actually go from I don't know anyone to I knew anyone? This is why no one teaches it, because the expectation is you're going to be bedded in the industry already. If you're, say, my friend Martin, who's been a Buddhist monk for 20 years and now is making a channel about meditation, he already has a million friends in this space. If he needs to get some market data and go, hey, how do you guys feel about this new trend? He can call up 10 friends, 20 former students, and 100 acquaintances that are all expert in the space that know him and are happy to talk to him on the phone. He doesn't even need to call him because he's done this for so long. He just knows, oh, yeah, generally we all feel that this is the general zeitgeist. It's not this. Generally, these people are effectively, they're not starting from 0. They're starting from step 5. So the coach that I spoke to, he directly said, yeah, it's not just that you don't have credibility. It's you don't have enough time to get credible. It will, right now, he's talking and he says, right now, I'm about to retire. And I'll be honest, it has been a struggle to make ends meet being a communications coach. And I have 20 years experience being the director of sales at a major Fortune 500 company. If it's struggle for me, what do you think is going to happen to you? And I've seen that so much where I'll talk with people. And there's 2 main problems, but the one we're talking about right now is that they just, like, this is neat, but why would I trust you to do it? I'm sending you that clip from Inception all the time. It's like, I need to guarantee you can do this. You know,
Wesley,
I,
hey. Sorry.
you know, before you try this, I need you to guarantee that you can do it. And the guy just turns to like, I can't, but I can do it. And that's where I'm at. The whole thing is I got standing behind me thousands of people who can prove they can do it. There is apparently a glut of guys who can say, yeah, I closed, $5 million deals, maybe 300-400 of them. I would do this once a month for the past 20 years. And I worked at this company. You see how their revenue increased after the work I did with them. Why would you bother with somebody who, even if you were the best in the world, has no proof? Because you're gambling your time on top of your money. It's like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And also explains the other half, where it feels awkward when I talk about this. And my friends are all polite. And I'm curious what actually you came to, but the fact is, I don't have a clear product, and I don't have a clear service. Everything comes down to, and this is Josh's trick that he's helping us out with. You need a specific problem felt by a specific person and how you will solve it. I don't have any of those. So when I talk about it, it's so general. So communication skills, they're really great. It's a thing where you can't really see how well it's helping you, but it really will. Trust me, guy. And the results are kind of difficult to measure, but it helps everything. So it adds up to a lot. Like, if you speak to everyone, you speak to no one. And people like Josh are doing things. Hey, I will teach mid-level executives a way to speak that will get you promoted into the C-suite. It's so concrete. It's believable, but it's also, I can tell, okay, I care about it. This has had an emotional attachment to both who I am and the thing I want next. And I don't know enough about anyone in the industry, any industry, to be able to say that. Like, so people trying to be helpful will say, hey, Ethan, well, how about this group? What do you know? Do they need communication skills? Like, I don't know. Like, well, how about this group? I know they need communication skills. Like, I don't know how, so I still don't know how to explain a problem to solve. This was the core of why I've been going to these networking meetings, to try and ask and go, hey, so what are your problems? And I'm hoping to hear someone go, oh, my problem is this. And I go, I know that's something that I could solve with communication skills. And now I find 10 people like them, and I start building a demographic. The reality, though, is there's a billion different types of entrepreneurs. So this is going to take a long time.
Okay. So I've got the gist of your problem, I think. Not having a concrete, here is my target market that has an objectable problem that I can solve for them, and I don't have a product ready to go that can solve that for them. I don't have metrics for it.
Right. And the root cause of all that is not having the market knowledge. My career is, and I think there's something with a pivot with this. All of my careers have been the most isolating bubble careers you can imagine. If you said, like the career path you're going, if you started working, say, at Total Wine in their corporate division, even if they had you just doing some minor managerial job to get you in the door, you'd see what the guy in the next office was doing. You'd hear about the VP while I was walking by. I don't. My entire career, from nuclear engineer to AI scientist to software engineer, the entire corporate structure is trying to isolate us as much as possible so that our time isn't wasted. So I don't hear rumors. I have no even fairy hints of anything about the corporate world this is also why I'm so generally cut off from understanding humanity in general, and why working in creative stuff is so exciting to me, because, oh my God, there's so much to understand that I've been missing out on.
So what if you use that experience?
That is a plan I'm flipping around. So this, I think, is the two halves I want to hit with you today. There is one, the current idea that I have, which we could use as an example. But then the greater, broader things of, honestly, even if you succeed at business and all this stuff goes wild, it's not going to fill every part of your life. What are the other things that I still need to have? Well, let's take me as an example. Me, selfish Ethan today. What are the other things that I need to have in life that this couldn't fill? And how much of that would be through art? the back when I was a music student, our composing professor would always say, I don't get any meaning out of anything I compose because it's all for these people, their way. So even if you succeed, you still have to ask this question, which is important. What does it mean to do this for yourself? What does it even look like? And what are all the things that get you? Because every time we've done this, where you've taken something that's a mix of two things and split it neatly into this bucket that only has to do one thing, and this bucket that only has to do that thing, both of them have gotten so much more powerful and so much more enjoyable. So with you, that's actually the direction I want to take the podcast going forward in the future now. Be really focused on the tension between trying to do this for art and trying to do this for money. And this thing, should this be for art? Should this be for myself? Oh, I'm losing sight of that. I'm so focused on money right now. How can I remember how to enjoy this and do it for myself? I want to discuss about both of those today in the time we have.
Real quick before we jump into that, I think you have a good market and I think you've got a good sales pitch for it already. You just don't like looking out and thinking about the other people there because you've been trained not to from your work experience. How many
Which people?
engineers, software developers, everything like that are people who are so isolated and taught and reinforce that behavior from their work, want to get that more social aspect again.
Yeah, that's the direction I'm thinking of. I was
And
talking with
here's
a
how
couple
you
people.
make it a product for companies now.
Okay.
You point out different companies might, I'm not sure that's the best word. The one that comes to mind is, have you ever read the story about Bad Blood, the Theranos company?
Mm-mm. Oh, I've heard of the lady with the funny voice. I got a lady like that at my gym.
She was that book was one of my books I had to read in my college ethics class, my business ethics.
Mm,
Essentially, she had things so compartmentalized that no one working there
yeah.
was able to get the whole picture and see it was a scam.
Mm,
So people thought they had a working prototype, but things never worked, and it was so compartmentalized again, no one knew what was going on. So you can approach businesses or people at these businesses with, here's the skills to communicate effectively what
mm,
needs to be told, and make sure that people get the bigger picture and know where they fit in. That way
mm,
you can avoid things like this. You can pitch that to businesses so that way people feel more comfortable working there and like they belong. And you can pitch that to people who are looking to get into that field of, here is how you
mm,
can go about with this type of culture in your mind. That way you don't end up getting stuck at one of these places.
mm, mm. So you can avoid ending in that situation yourself. That is a compelling twist on
Treat it
it.
more like selling insurance than selling a product.
Mm, 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 mm.
I want to make sure you don't fall into one of these pitfalls.
This is useful. The the conclusion I've come to is that I should pivot to focusing on the one demographic I know, even if I don't want to work with them. But I still don't understand what they need. I was talking with one guy who's very successful at this. He's like, hey, you know what? I think we agree, Ryan. I should try to find what is the closest to my level that I can just get something started. Going from 0 to 1 is so hard, and I don't have that industry embedding where I already have a whole bunch of networks of people. So just whoever would be the most willing or interested in what I have, start with them, and I can learn from their experiences because then they'll give me information. Like, what is your boss like? What is your neighbor like? Oh, are you the one, 1 in 100 guy who wants to start a business on the side in addition to this? Oh, wow, great. This is giving me a lot of useful information. But I still need to struggle and find out what specific things they could need. So the guy in our group, he said, hey, I have a guaranteed way that you could get a start. If you start making videos about how to use your communication skills so 20-something-year-old guys can get girls, you will get a ton of views. You get a lot of comments. You can start interviewing them. They're like, dear God, I did not realize this could get even worse. Fine, I will work with the tech people. I did not realize how much worse it could be. Bring on the world that I'm trying to escape.
Think about it this way: rather than having to work with the tech people, You get to be the one to open their eyes and show them this new world that you found.
Mm. And honestly, I probably learned a little bit myself through the process. The I spent this morning working on my little intro thing. I want to show it to you after their air, but one of my friends launched a podcast just about creative writing. And his intro is so freaking beautiful. He goes on this little sandwich of, "Hi, I've written all these things, but you know what I haven't done? I haven't published a novel. I haven't gotten a New York sales tag, blah, 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 blah." And then he goes on to, "But I've done this, and I've done that, and I can promise that I can teach you how to do that part." And that feels so strong when no matter how small the piece is, that sandwich makes you feel so certain that he's being honest about what he actually can and can't do, that small slice feels a lot more compelling. So I could go on with, "Hey, I'm writing this morning. I was working on writing my intro, and I think I landed on something for. You have to do long and short versions of all of these. It's like I'm a senior engineer. I have done everything from nuclear engineering to software for over a decade, and it's done a lot for me. But I have never made a $5 million sales deal. I have never even made a $5 deal. But what I have done is I have seen the difference between how painful it was to talk before, how painful it was to write before, and how just I hated what came out. To now, I love what it comes out. It's beautiful. It feels like freedom. It feels like momentum. And on top of whatever effect that has on other people, this feels great. And I know how to get there because I had to cross all the problems that people like us have that the director of sales did not have. So I can show you how to get there. What you do with it is up to you. And maybe if I talk with a few people like that, then I'd learn what they use with it for. What was interesting and compelling, the application.
That was a great pitch already, man. You've got this.
It'll be fun. I'm sorry this is this organized, but I want to pivot into the second half already. Like, I would love to talk about this and what I usually could do to make money or succeed or get my first thing. But the reality is, God, this was excruciating. But it made me think really clearly about, why do I want to do this? What is it that I get out of it? And so much of it is, I love making this stuff, man. I was wanting to talk about this anyway, but I'm even more interested in now. What does it mean to do something just for yourself, like the podcast you've made? Because I think about what if I just completely gave this up and never did anything. I want to write these things and I want to make these things, and I might make some more goofy things or less serious things, or I don't know what's going to come out, but there is a joy in your ideas having a flow to it. And that feeling when you can tell somebody is getting as excited about it as you are because you were actually able to explain it in this way. So I'm thinking more about, that part. The whole question of, well, what other parts of life have I been neglecting that I should get into? That's a big topic. Maybe say that for over a beer. But what other things can you do with creation that I have been neglecting? Because everything is, this is just for me. Oh, that's why it failed. Oh, it's still a little bit for me. That's why it's failed. This was still a little bit for me. That's why it's still. Squeeze all of that for me out. So there's none of it. And entirely with what other people want. What would be more interesting for the first line? And what does the topic they care about? And put some of that blood back in of, this is something I care about and why.
So my personal kind of philosophy on why I will create things just for myself is, yes, it fills me with joy. I love it. I love putting out something that I'm just prideful in, and I can stand behind this 100%. This is my mark. I'm doing something. But also, the little bit of me that's greedy and wants this to turn into something looks at it as building my resume. If I am trying to be a writer for a show or something like that, they're not going to care about the fact that I could sell $1,000 bottle of whiskey once, or that I brokered these sales, or that I was they're not going to care about any of those numbers or my years of experience behind a bar. But if they see, oh, he put out this podcast and I listened to it, and yeah, it's got storytelling elements, it's got clear intro conclusion, it's got me suspense, it's got that emotional, visceral reaction to hearing a gunshot. That is your resume for that type of work now. Even though
I,
I'm not in that field, I'm putting together a resume in case I do decide to go that route.
I love the idea of as a resume. That 30-day challenge was huge for that part alone. Do you? How much do you think they would care about the fact? How personal do you think it would be that they're going to sit there and go, I felt suspense at this point. Man, that's a good sign. Oh, I felt a reaction here. That's a good sign. Or how my devil's advocate is they sit down. It doesn't matter what I feel. 3 views. That's all I need to know. I don't even need to listen to it. It doesn't matter if I like it. It matters how many other people out there. How big is the market of other people? 3 views. I don't need to listen to it.
Here's the question. Would you want to work for someone like that?
For no, with yes. That's where sponsorships and things like come from. People who aren't even in the art space and they're just trying to sell ad dollars.
Yeah, I don't care about that. I'll be
Tell me more.
brutally honest.
Yeah.
If I blow up and I can be my own boss and not have to work for anyone, just put out what I want when I want, great. Yeah, I'll take sponsors to make ends meet and be able to keep that going. But I'm not going to be as invested in them as they're going to be invested in me at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be buying stock in this company. I'm not. Yes, I'll probably get paid more for clicks on their link, but it's not going to be the end of the world to me if, oh, this company's sales are down. Okay. Oh well. Do better, I guess. But if I get hired saying, "Hey, we saw your whiskey podcast. We loved it. We're doing a story on something similar. We'd love for you to come in and consult or do something with it, be a part of it." I'm going to care a hell of a lot more about them.
So you get a lot of meaning fulfillment from it, and that is your marker, not the dollars.
I mean, yeah, if a company who says, "Hey, I want to pay you $1 million to run an ad for me," I'll take that. Absolutely. But again, I'm doing that for the paycheck, not because I love HelloFresh.
Fuck those guys.
Sponsor of this episode.
They won't stop putting crap in my mailbox.
Could you imagine if this is the episode that gets a sponsorship and plays that ad right there?
It would get attention for sure.
Oh man, I think we'd also probably lose that sponsor about as fast as we got him.
We would find their nemesis and work with them.
Oh god, that'd be too good. Or man,
goodbye rotten. Let's go. So I want to play even more devil's advocate on this. So I'm not for or against any of this yet. I'm still just trying to advocate. So no positions yet. But if you do that, you're just whoever. How this weaves together. I know somebody who's semi-famous and been learning more about him through other channels and found out that he actually took investors. So it looks like the dream from the outside. Making a passion project, it grows up big, and then he's making money. But the reality is he's got investors, which means he has bosses that tell him, you need to make this much content this month. It has to be like this. They can come in and say, you can't say that. You can't do it this way. And the line between just having a regular day job, the line between this being a creative job you're paid for and just another day job is getting smaller. So
I will say, I think that's why, at least for this creative space, I've seen a lot of people in recent years going with the Patreon route instead of investors. Because,
Mhm.
hey, you really like this content, you want to support me and have me be able to make more of it. Yeah, buy me a cup of coffee. Just put in $2 a month, and that will, between the enough of you guys, that will be enough to keep me going.
Mhm. Mhm.
That is such a powerful tool that doesn't impede on that freedom to create.
And this is why I want to ask the questions. All of the questions. It's Expedition 33 style. We're not trying to find one answer for anybody, but if we have the right questions to ask, then we can all figure out the right mix of work and art for every situation we go through in our lives. And the scenario I realized I was getting into is I was trying to make this side business become everything. It was going to be my social life. This is where I meet other entrepreneurs and creators who are both really interesting, but also like well spoken. So we're talking about the things I care about, and I like the way they talk about it. It's also going to be my new income that's going to explode to so much money that I can actually retire instead of having to work into my 80s because I started my career late in life. It's going to be my connection with my father I never got to know. It's going to be everything all at once. Because we do this podcast. Because so many times we'll talk about a new technique or a new idea, and we're just excited about the art of it. And one thing having to hold all of those at once, it just collapses under the weight. Tell me a little bit more about, I want to mirror. So I want to think more about why I like this stuff, the art, and what I might do next just for myself. Tell me a little bit more about the podcast you put together and what you enjoyed about it and what you got out of it, what things you wouldn't change in order to make money.
So, I think I've mentioned on the show before, the only reason I started that podcast was because I wanted to listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted a podcast in this style about this type of story, and it didn't exist. So, all right, the only way I'm going to be able to listen to this is if I make it myself. And it took me a long time and a lot of effort before I finally went ahead and even purchased a microphone and
Yeah.
did every little thing. And I have tried to keep this as cheap as I can. I am
Mm.
spending the bare minimum. You guys can't see, but my laptop and my microphone are standing on cardboard boxes right now.
I love it.
Just so that way I've got them at heights where they're about where I want them.
Mm.
Could I buy a nice fancy desk for it? Yes. But for right now, I am just making this because I want it. And I haven't even been able to do that for a while now. I miss it. Do I miss the work of creating it? No. But I miss putting those stories out there and being proud of it.
Now, this is the part that instinctively it makes sense, but the why I've lost touch with. You say that you just wanted to listen to it, but why? Because if you think about the story, okay, I already know the story. I don't need to have it read out loud to me for me to know the story because it's already in your head. How is going through all the extra steps and all the extra hard work to write out a neat script and then record it and then listen to the recording any better than just knowing the story in the first place?
Part of me wants to instantly say it's not because I do not listen to my own podcast. I hate the sound of my own voice. I have not gotten past that step, my friend. But it's this just nature inside of me. It's the same thing of you see a beautiful sunset and instantly you're an amateur photographer pulling out your phone and wanting to capture that moment. If I'm reading a good story, in my head I'm hearing the honking of cars, I hear that gunshot, I picture it vividly, and the only way to get it out of my head is to get it out into the world.
To get it out of your head by getting it into the world. because this is something that I feel too, and I understand it far less than you do. Where I would notice every week or two, I start feeling cranky and empty, and maybe I have everything I want in the world and all the things I want to do. But when I actually record the script and then put it out, I feel so great and I'm happy. There, like you, there is this primitive need to create things, and I don't even understand this need.
I don't think any of us really do. I mean, I have yet to meet someone who does not feel a version of that need to capture a little essence of ourself to preserve it. I mean, who doesn't want a statue built of them when they're gone? Maybe that might be a little grandiose for some people, but we want to be remembered. We want to do something meaningful. It's no one wants to sit in a cubicle and have their life boil down to a spreadsheet.
There's different spices of it though. I do feel that there is an innate need for at least men, because that's just the people I know the most, to accomplish something, to do something. But I don't think it always has to be in the form of creating something or even creating media. Um, like, okay, some guy cures world hunger. That's a huge achievement. I could see them being satisfied their whole life with that. But there's no thing that can go, oh, here's the hunger solution. Like, no, it's you actually remove something from the world that you can't see anymore. And I think there's something different to needing to create some work of art, something that actually tells a story or says a lesson. There's some extra thing in this unique flavor of it.
I would argue that just about any scientific accomplishment or breakthrough, the people who are working on it see it as something beautiful and creating something. Whether that's genetically modifying corn so that way you can solve world hunger, solving cancer,
Mm.
they'll the problem and the solution to them is a beautiful thing. Now, I am not smart enough to look at a cancer cell and think of it in this beautiful way that I could possibly solve it like a Rubik's Cube. I can't do that. But I can tell stories. I can picture them vividly. That's something that is accomplishable for me. So I'm going to set out to do that.
This is a great point that this is a skill set you have. So this is the hammer that you're looking to wield. I think there's actually something special here. I mean, this is my struggle because I'm coming from tech and science into this, which makes anytime I read an introduction twice as long because I have to explain both of them instead of just one. But I see the difference. I have worked on things like that. And I'll tell you, when you get closer to the end, it starts feeling meaningless. You get down to the questions of, okay, so we made it so twice as many people can live in this area. So we've made it so that people in this area will live twice as long. Okay, that's nice. That's less death, that's less suffering. So what? Just more people living more years. It never feels to me like we reach to the end of the chain until we do some storytelling or something like that. Because it's like, so why do we keep people alive? Why do we save those lives? So they can do this, so they can read this, so they can think about this. This is what we talked about in the beginning, where storytelling is meaning. And it's bigger than just stories, but there's something here. There is meaning that we're addressing in this that all these scientific and economic solutions don't.
So, first of all, I think you just found your new pitch. You are the guy who can teach the person in charge of these scientific beings. Here is how you keep them motivated, how you make their work meaningful. That way,
Hmm.
they're not just staring at a spreadsheet with numbers and equations. Here is how you make it so they are excited to come to work and finish this project.
It's a powerful idea.
I mean, again, that storytelling is what motivated you. You can physically say that. You can talk about the jobs that Yeah, when we first started, we were so excited, and as it came to an end, we felt like it lost its meaning.
Hmm.
That is a very powerful thing to talk about.
In many ways, it makes me the worst person because I don't think this matters. I did this and it turned out it was worthless. Let's, you know,
Yeah, but go back now and tell them that story of, hey, yeah, I did this work, and at first it was great, but by the end of it, there was so little communication and we had lost motivation. If I had someone go through and tell me a story about here is what your work has done, this is what we've been working for, here is how it is affecting people, not just thousand yard stare of this is going to make twice as many people fit here. It's now you guys have made it possible to save this specific family and another 100 just like them.
this is the questions of what really is meaningful behind all this. I was really excited about communication skills because not it does this or helps you close sales because it gets you so much more in tune with what is the meaning of life. Because then you have these conversations where you're not talking about the surface level things, you're actually talking with people about what matters in their life. And then you start seeing, oh, I don't give a shit about that. I do give a shit about that. And you start figuring out what matters to you. And then when you're hanging out with people, the whole surrounded by people but being alone, since working at this, I'm spending so much more time with people where they care about the same meaningful things I do. And that feels like real connection. So without noticing it until now, all of this, I want to teach speaking coaching is really my path for finding connection with other people. And I mean, that's questionable if that's a good idea or not. Like, should you be trying to get that even from a creative work? Should that be put into a bucket of pure personal art and not try to be made into a profitable project?
Trying to pick my words carefully here. I would say that it's a good goal all around. And absolutely, you should pursue it personally of being around people that have similar values and wanting to support you and each other the best you can. But I would say it's also worth it to purposely seek out people with different values to stretch yourself and each
Mm.
other.
Actually, I just realized something. What happens if I do this? Is it better now? This one's not plugged in.
Oh, I was so proud of us for getting it right the first time. At least we could hear each other.
It was working. Okay. Not relevant. Tech stuff was last year, or actually 2 years ago. Good Lord, we've been doing this for a while. And right, getting different people's values is great. That's actually how I learned more about what I want. And that's actually how you get that market intimacy of knowing I have no connection with your values, but I know what they are now, so I can actually create something that would be valuable for you. You're actually making me realize the real thing though. And I'm sorry this is so abstract and it's just floating around, but it's really coming up with great information. I'm realizing that focusing on getting my meaning out of my business project just isn't sustainable because things will have to iterate and change and evolve. And no matter what happens, you're going to end up twisting it into something that's not that much your thing anymore. I don't think it's reasonable to make a living off of art. I'm just going to say that flat out. You can make some money off it. You could. But in order to actually make a living off it, you have to start focusing so much on, like we said, other people need, what their values are, what they appreciate with that. And then you get into audience capture. Are you familiar with that term now?
Yep.
So that again goes even further. And I see a lot of people torn with that, but it would be so freeing to sit down and go, I have the thing I care about right over here. and that doesn't get touched ever. And this is for making money. If this twists to left, turns right, it turns something completely detached from everything I care about. It's just harmless, but I don't get any excitement about it. That's fine. Just take it wherever it needs to go to be service to the world or make some profit. Um, I definitely feel I'm more interested in having value to people than making money myself, but it's just still the same bucket. It's not making me, it's not connecting with my values. And you need to
So
have that.
I do not see it as two different buckets. I see it as a Venn diagram.
Hmm.
I want there ideally to be overlap. I want to have my work bucket bleed into something I care about a little bit. And I
Hmm.
want the things I care about to do well enough to where, sure, they'll make a little bit of money just as proof that it's doing well. But at the same time, I need something to feed the pocket, put food on the plate, and I need
Yep.
something that I care about, enjoy, and keeps me going.
Would that diagram move as the business grows?
Um, Probably, but I think it would more so be like a pendulum where the overlap gets larger and smaller at different times.
Hmm.
It's never going to just be constantly moving away. You just have to grit your teeth through that part and wait for it to come back together more.
I suppose that your interest would move as well. The whole acid jazz thing. Just because you've been doing this art for so long, you stop being interested in that and want to be interested in something related to it now.
Absolutely. And I mean, look at how many musicians are out there. Let's use them as an example who have come out with a song and all of a sudden this thing they were doing just because they loved it with friends at the weekend in a small bar is top the charts and they're getting asked to play stadiums and things like that. And 3 4 years down the line, that's still the one song that they're known for,
Yep.
and every single show they have to play this one song, and at that point they almost hate that song, and everything they've put out since has been trying to repeat it because that's what producers want.
Hmm.
Now, yes,
That's sad.
short term that might get you more money, that might be more productive, but long term your fans aren't going to feel that same emotion, everything that was in the original. There's
Mm.
there's no way to get that lightning to strike the same spot twice. The ones
Hmm.
that realize this and keep doing something new and pushing themselves and say, "No, we're just going to be us." That's when they start getting better again.
Man, you're hitting on so many good points.
I
I've
think the other good kind of metaphor for this that I've seen a lot of this pattern in is movie trilogies.
mm,
The first one comes out, does great. You can tell they're having fun with it. Second one, they get a bigger budget, there's more investors, and they feel like they have to try and recreate it, but do everything bigger and better. And they aren't having fun with it anymore. And it can still be good, but it's not as good as the first one. And then the best trilogy is the third one comes out, and they go, screw it, we're going to go back to having fun. We've got the budget and we're going to have fun again. And it's one of the best ones they come out with.
this is the extra secret that over the holidays, the 6 videos that actually did well, for me, was over the holidays when I did nothing and I was just intentionally taking a complete break to decompress. And I thought, "Well, I think it'd be fun to make this." And those did really well. And then when I came back and says, "I think I know it will be good. I have new techniques to try." It did terrible. And to some point, choosing one will get you the other as well. Because, like you say, it seems that when you're doing what you're having fun, has a better chance of succeeding. But I think you still got to be blind to it. I think you have to be choosing what you're doing it for. You have to choose: am I doing this for fun or am I doing this for business?
Yes. Again, the trilogy, going back to that analogy, the one that springs to mind always as a shining example of this for me is Ocean's 11.
Hmm.
And Come on, you can't tell me that George Clooney was not doing that role with a smile on his face the whole time because it was
It's such a
just
fun movie.
himself.
Hmm.
He was just going, I get to be this best version of myself that everyone loves, comes out on top, and looks like a damn genius.
Hmm.
Yeah, this is great. Oh, and I get to be sarcastic and snarky, and I
Mm.
get the girl. Yeah, sign me up.
Mm.
And then the second one came out, and you can tell that there's more pressure to be, oh,
Yep.
be more witty in this scene. Okay, yeah, maybe not the best direction to try and force him down that. Just let him go back to being himself.
Mm. Yeah, you give me more questions than answers, which is exactly what I asked for, and it's still frustrating. I
Again,
like
this
this.
is one of those things where to me, it's not here is the objectively correct answer. It's here is a philosophy that I think fits, but it's still a philosophy, so it's not an answer and it will not always be right.
My heart has been telling me to make things for fun, and I'm not outright asking the question yet, but I'm doing it now. Like, I want to do that now. I want to take a break. There's people give me some ideas. You should do this and you should do that, and I think I can just tell the right answer is to take a break and just make whatever the fuck I want for fun for a little while, burn the channel to the ground. Don't. You learn so much more from that, but I think it does something else that I don't understand that helps you later in the future.
So, to keep the analogies going, because that's a good speaking skill, as we talked about in a past episode,
Mm-hmm.
uh, think of it like a forest fire.
Mm-hmm.
You burn away some of the brush and debris and everything for new seeds to grow. Just because it's not going great now and you burn it to the ground doesn't mean something good won't start coming up out of it. And if it doesn't take that time, you just get more small brushes, burn it to the ground again. See what
Mm-hmm.
happens. What's going to go wrong burning it a second time? It's still going to be there.
It's hard because everybody talks about, well, you got to stick with something or it'll never build. And I feel the time pressures because I'm getting older in life. But yeah, I can't really think of any big success I've ever seen except somebody burning it all to the ground and starting from scratch. I have this experience, I have those past like emotions, but let's look at it with fresh eyes and rebuild it just clean slate.
I mean, even the ones that took off right away because they had a big name, the one that comes to mind for me is The Rock's YouTube channel when he launched it back in like 2016 or something like that. And yeah, it was a big deal. The Rock has a YouTube channel and he put out like 2 videos and they instantly blew up. And it just felt disingenuous and this
Mm,
is clearly just trying to get a younger market and doesn't feel like your persona, and it kind of died off fast.
mm.
At least for me it did. Maybe people stuck with it. I sure didn't. But you can't be afraid. You're not going to get it right the first time.
So let's make this tangible. With the time we have left today, what should I do that would actually be fun? What does play look like? What if because that happens to me all the time. I get so locked in on this, I forget how to have fun. I forget how to play. So if I was going to make some art, some creating, instead of helping me figure out what would be a good market to hit, what would be some good fun things I could make?
What would you want to do if you were still stuck in that cubicle and still trying to apply to places that were software companies but having you fill out paper?
Yeah.
Just what would you want to go home and watch, or what would you want to go home and talk about?
Man, that was a different Ethan back then. Then I would want to make videos about Mythbusters. I was
Then do
still
a
in love
modern
with engineering at that time.
Mythbusters.
Yeah. Like what
Oh,
Corey does right now is so cool.
Go jump on Expedition 33 and do a shitty Mythbusters in that game.
It would be fun to make some videos about just goofy TV shows. There was like a million ideas I had for Severance, that show, and that could be fun to make some more goofy stuff on that. And
Man, you've got a drone. You can do really cool aerial shots of Mythbusters dropping something from. Will this survive this foot drop like this myth says it would or something?
That's a good point. I want to do easy everything. It's been such balls ass work every step. Even things that are easy for me to now, when I did it, were super hard. Getting the camera lined up and getting all this stuff. I want to do something that's easy because videography is beautiful. We like making pretty things. But what can I do with the skill set I have right now that wouldn't be a pain in the ass, but actually look a little nice?
See, I think the pain in the ass part is what makes it art.
What?
Oh, absolutely. If you just had a famous artist draw a smiley face, that is not going to be their art. But if they're painting a beautiful masterpiece and their hands cramping and they're tired and sweaty, but they put their blood, sweat, and tears to it, that is art.
I think that is a type, but I think there's also something in the because we're talking about the magic that comes when you're playing, when it's just an effortless thing. You go, first thing that comes to my gut that I have a connection with, like, yeah, I like this. Wouldn't it be cool if we added that? And just okay, don't think about it too much. But it's flowing from your desires and emotions instead of so much your head and the planning.
Yeah, and that still comes from years of practice, and that is the pain in the ass part.
Pain in the ass is in the rearview mirror. I want to have something that's just the fun part for a little while.
Yeah,
oh my
you've
god,
done
I
the
remember
pain
how
in
much
the
I
ass
hated
of getting your license to have your drone and request airspace. You've done that.
it.
You can make these beautiful videography scenes easily
Oh
at
my
this point.
god. You're so right. Everything
You
I'm doing
have
is so
learned how
about
to play
people.
a guitar so well that you can just jump in a jam session, go. That is what you have done.
There's something so beautiful about the drone where there's no people, there's no temporary things about this current trend. It's just timeless, natural beauty that's floating by. And you can't tell I made it because I'm nowhere in it. So someone could just steal it and there's nothing I can do about it. But there's just something beautiful about it. I should do that. I should get out my camera.
Even just use it for something that you are actually in and a weird, unique camera angle that
Mm,
no one else can do in that space. Why not?
mm.
You can do it.
I want to look into this. I want to think about mini content. I like the idea of I wake up, I do my job, not stressing about having enough time, and I create something and publish it same day. Not these marathons of multi-day writing and filming and editing and not trying to cram it into a busy work schedule. Just what time do I got? Okay, I can make something in that. Good, bad, trash, it's made.
Again, that's a great goal. I'm talking about next time we shoot this in person, you and me up on your rooftop balcony, just hanging out, drinking whiskey, talking on the mic, and then randomly it will cut to a drone flying just off to the side to where you
Mm,
can barely hear it in the background. And now you got this weird, crazy angle of us from what looks to be floating off the ledge of the building.
that could be fun. That could be really fun.
You could absolutely do something like that. And that's something so unique to you because you've put in that pain in the ass time and effort.
Mm. I'm gonna think more about this. Let's do this. Let's do this. All right, flip the camera for you, Ryan. I know you got this cool, challenging, but progressing career going on right now. Hypothetical though, if we put you in a bottle for 3 months and you couldn't do any work on that, but your bills were taken care of, what would you enjoy making?
Oh, I've got so many ideas that have been forced onto the back burner. And my knee jerk reaction is to say something small that I could do easily that I've just been putting off.
Mm,
But if I had 3 months to where I could fully dedicate my work to it,
mhm.
I'd want to take on something bigger than that. And I don't entirely know what that would be, but I would want to take on something bigger.
Hmm. Well, then what would the small things be? You get a whole lot of small ones done in 3 months.
Oh, I've still got some potential scripts for the podcast floating around, but
Hmm.
have not sat down recorded any of them. There's a few where I'm just I don't really like how this reads. I put it down, I start a different one, and I haven't gone back to it.
Mm.
Just need to clean things up a good bit.
Yeah, yeah. No pressure, no pressure.
Yeah, it uh some of the scripts that I was writing, it started to feel more like I'm doing this because season 3 is expected of me. I already said here's what the next episode's going to be.
Hmm.
And yes, it's pushing me and I have to figure out a few things. But goddamn, it's pain in the ass. It's pushing me and I have to figure out a few things now.
That's yeah. I think that's what I'm feeling right now. Just enjoy taking your break from that have to and try to make it entirely want to for a little while. That have to is useful though.
Yes, it is. That is the downside to calling your shot, pointing out, yeah, I'm going to send that ball right over there. Oh, now I actually have to swing at it.
I believe, Ryan, that there is a day that it gets easy, that it comes be like, I want to make this thing because I believe in it. I think it's a great idea. And you sit down and just go, "Dur, dur, 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 dur." Okay, that's what I do now. It's become like singing or talking.
Yeah, I was starting to get to that point, and then I said, all right, I'm really good at hitting the ball over it that way. What if I
Mhm.
try hitting it this way? I'm going to do that next time.
Eventually, you run out of directions. I'm seeing this too. The last scripts I wrote, that series that I did, the first one was hard. The second one was similar. They got it easy. But number 3, okay, I got a formula I can do. And then after that, oh, the next thing I'm doing is completely different. It's starting from scratch. There's only so many more things I could do. I see a lot of times now, oh, well, I'm going to be repeating A, B, or C. And that'll just be bring out a formula that I already like, that feels true to me. Let's go. So keep hitting those balls.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I need to get back into it. I really do. And I know I've been saying that for probably a full year at this point.
Well, it's not like you've been sitting around doing nothing. But for the purposes of our topic today, I really liked where we got here. You took me the whole journey of what actually I went through, some great questions about what I would want to do next for fun, for play, really tap into that. And all the things that doing those playful creations will teach me on both the business side and my personal life. What I want to wrap up with is I have an idea I've been wanting to try lately that I think is going to be fucking fun as hell.
Okay.
Next time, think about this and help me come up with exactly the details. I want to do a series of mini podcasts. Instead of an hour-long one, I want us to spend maybe a half an hour where we complete 15 1-minute podcasts where we just have a quick idea, a quick topic, and just really back and forth and just done, done, done. I've seen this before where if you plan for it to be 30 seconds or 60 seconds, you have shorts. They're designed to be shorts. And the best part is that's media training. When you see a politician, a marketer, a CEO on stage, he's been actively taught how to talk about these important ideas in 30-second chunks so that they can slice it out later when you do this. We do one episode like that. I think it'll be fun as hell. I think it'll stand on its own, but it'll also train us that whenever we need to, during a 2-hour speech, or maybe when you're doing a conference that's being recorded, you can just whip it out, bam, 30 second, 30 second, 30 second, and have these beautiful slices that are perfect to put onto short media that you just got to.
I like
I
that
want to have
idea.
that skill, Ryan.
That would be a good skill. is the exact opposite of what I've been trying to learn how to do.
It'll help one of us. I like it.
No, it's a great skill to have. I have spent a long time trying to get the skill of here is how you talk to someone and make it so engaging and interesting that they think it's been half an hour, but really it's been 3.
You need both. Separate the two. Focus on them independently. They both get better.
I like it. Let's do it.
All right. Till next time.
Next time.